Hi everyone, it's Mojax. A really quick couple of little tips for you today on the Pioneer RMX-1000. I've been playing around with this for a while. I haven't done a walkthrough video or anything because it's been out for a couple of years. There are a lot of decent tutorials and walkthroughs online, a lot of which I watched before I bought it, and I would recommend if you're interested in one that you do the same. But if you do own one, or you're going to come across one when you're playing out in gigs and that sort of thing, then here's a couple of little tips for you that I've come across which might come in handy. I'm just going to run a little loop that I've made on the propeller head figure app on the iPhone, so just really simple little electronic loop. Now the first sort of tip that I've got for you is the BPM control. Now this is really good at picking up the BPM automatically. It is pretty much dead on all the time and pretty quick to recognize it as well. If you're using playing house or dubstep, drum and bass even, usually it's very, very good. But if you're playing more broken beat kind of stuff, a lot of hip hop it struggles with a little bit, so there is obviously a way to manually dial that in. You can tap using the tap button and that'll get you pretty much there, but if you want to have it dead accurate, like that's coming out of your Tractor or Serato setup or your CDJ, you're playing at 122.6 BPM, then there is a way to get to that. So what you can do, you hold down the tap button, that'll take you through with the nudge buttons there, will take you through in whole steps of the BPM. And then if you hold down the auto button as well, that will get you to the decimal point. So that's now running at 122.4, dead on. And that's pretty quick to achieve as well. You can tap to get yourself in the right ballpark and then use those two buttons to really dial it in exactly as you want it. Keep it nicely quantized. All your your loop rolls and your echoes and that sort of thing will stay dead on beat, which is something that you want when you're playing with these kind of beat effects in a unit like this. Also, just one thing to note, that does apply to all of the Pioneer DJM stuff as well, like the mixers and the EFX 500, the 1000. They've all got that facility. So if you hold down the tap button, normally on the mixers it's the time knob in the effects section that you turn that, and that'll do the whole BPM. Again, hold down the auto button with it and that will go through the decimal point. So just something to bear in mind if you don't use Pioneer at home or anything like that, and you're out at a gig and you really want to nail that BPM and it's struggling automatically, well there you go. You can always do a manual BPM on the Pioneer stuff. It's just a quite handy little thing. A lot of people don't seem to realise you can do that. The second little tip I've got for you is something that I've discovered myself. I dare say other people have come up with it as well. It's not probably an original thought, but it's something I found on my own and I found it really useful. These scene effects on the right hand side are excellent, but they can be a little bit overbearing. If you've got a fully compressed, really loud track from that's an actual track rather than a little minimal loop like this, often they can really be a bit in your face. And so what I like is the ability to cut those in and out. Now you can do it like that with that button there. Again, it's kind of does work, but it's a clicky button. You can't really get too much on it, too much sort of control over it. Same thing with the input source, so you can turn the input. This top section here is that button there is the input. Whatever's coming into it, you can send that to the scene effect or not. In this case, but in this case, my little trick, what you do is you turn that off. So this input now, the main input is not going to the scene effects. All that's going to the scene effects is this section down here. And if you put this into the roll mode, then what you can do, you've got a long roll, say 16 beats, 8 beats, and so on here. All you do, just give a little tap. It's not actually going to roll the track because you're holding it down for a shorter length than the actual roll length. And as you can hear, it's just sending a small amount. And you can really dial that in with the level as well. So you can have it louder or quieter within the mix, and you can pitch as well on that as well. So that's just a little thing I like to do. Nice subtle effect. Something that's just going to add a little dimension to your mix. Nothing too hectic, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I think you can get some really interesting, that's the spiral effect. And because this X pad is designed to be touched, it's designed to be used sort of fine control like that. So I find that works really nicely for me in my sets. There you go. So just a couple of little tips and tricks for the RMX-1000. Any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comments section. I've got more videos on my channel, so please do subscribe. You know, tutorials, walkthroughs and stuff. Also some live mixes there as well. My channel on YouTube is Mojax VDJ. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.